Conversations that chronicle medical discoveries, hard to diagnose illnesses, and other relevant health topics straight from the experts. Welcome to DOCumentaries. As the pandemic drags on and as families grapple with an ever-changing normal, stress and anxiety can escalate. The coronavirus outbreak has caused major disruptions to daily life, and young people are also feeling these challenges deeply. We turn to Dr. Kenneth Javate, child and adolescent psychiatrist at the Medical City, for some expert advice on how to tell if your child is struggling and ways you as a parent or guardian can help.
So it's been more than a year since our lives were changed in the blink of an eye by this COVID-19 pandemic. And psychologically speaking, mental health experts have summarized the consequences of this pandemic in two words: uncertainty and isolation. We are uncertain of so many things right now. What will happen if our friends, our family might fall ill. We are also very isolated because prevention and treatment of COVID-19 has required that we separate ourselves from each other in so many ways. So it's a very common response to feel stressed and worried. And our children, they have not been spared these challenges as well and are experiencing it in unique ways. The fact that for more than a year already, our young people have not been able to go to school. And school is very important because that is the place where they can hone their talents, they can interact with their peers, they can develop. And the fact that we have tried to make do and tried to make the best of online learning, but there is still a lot of loss. And our children, they're grieving for that. They're worried about what will happen to the future. Of course, they're very much affected these days also. In general, our young people are stressed these days. And this can manifest in different ways. It can manifest in their emotions, that they report that they're feeling not as happy as before, that they don't feel as motivated, they feel generally sad, or they're worrying more about many different things. And that affects how they think. So, for example, for students, that can affect that they can concentrate as well as they would want to in terms of their academics. And that's a result that they don't do as well. Which is why it can also manifest in their behaviors. Even if they don't talk, in fact, sometimes they isolate themselves and they will not actually communicate, but you will be able to see that they are not doing what they need to do, their responsibilities in terms of school and at home. They are not interacting with the members of the family and just isolating themselves, maybe even from their friends. On social media, they're turning inward. And that's why some may be worried that they are engaging in some coping mechanisms excessively, like computer gaming. Some of them may be doing that most of the time instead of their responsibilities. So to a certain extent, all of that is okay. It's understandable that our young people are stressed. That's what we mean to say that it's okay not to be okay. But we also have to remember that there is a line when we have to recognize that something is already wrong and they might need more help. And that is when, all of these manifestations of their stress are so persistent and so pervasive that they are already significantly interfering with how they function. And that is in terms of both their responsibilities, maybe at school. If they're still in school, they're not able to study effectively. They're not able to make their requirements. And you see that in their grades. Now, outside of school, maybe their responsibilities at home, they cannot accomplish that. And speaking of home, that also manifests in terms of the relationships with the people at home. A child who was once very communicative suddenly becomes very isolated, refuses to talk. Or when they talk, they can say very worrisome statements like they don't have hope anymore, that they want to hurt themselves or end their life. Or you might see that they might actually be engaging in behaviors that let us worry that they might be at risk of harming themselves. So that's the line when that is crossed, that they probably need more help, that this is not normal stress anymore. One of the best ways to deal with stress, even in young people, is to be able to talk about it. So have a conversation with your child. I mean, and when I say talk to them, actually more of listen, because you want to find out what they are going through. And it's very helpful for a child to feel heard, in an authentic, compassionate, and sincere way. And once you are able to do that, to listen to them and find out, that's when you can have a conversation with them to make a plan about how you can cope better. And of course, this includes ways like exercising more, eating right, getting more sleep, balancing screen time, between activities that they enjoy, like maybe YouTube, gaming, but also using technology to connect, like with relatives, for example, or even spending time offline over board games to connect with the members in the family. So it's really balancing all of these things because, but we have to start out by you understanding where they're coming from. However, despite our best efforts, it may still happen that the young person is really having a difficult time. And whatever may be manifesting, their sadness, their worry, this may be going on for too long, right? And the manifestations may just be so intense. So it's not a bad thing to seek help. It's all right, because seeking help, especially from a professional, is actually an opportunity, a beginning to determine, what is the problem and what solutions do we need to be able to put into place to solve that, right? Because the goal is to be able to manage all of these stressors and to get back into a state of well-being. And our children deserve that.
No one knows when the COVID-19 pandemic will end. While the statistics on illness and deaths are staggering, there has been an equally overwhelming toll exacted on our mental health. Just remember to keep lines of communications open between you and your child, and do not hesitate to seek medical advice about ways to help maintain your family's mental health during this difficult time.